This is the 40-inch rosebud cardigan I'm doing, and I've started off with cable cast on, and I'm going to cast on, I have casted on 93 stitches here, but I want it up to 103, so I'm going to show, for anyone that doesn't know, I'm sure everybody knows, I've shown this quite a few times, but I do the cable cast on, which means I knit into the back of the whole stitch, so that's 1, 2, 3, the third stitch, and every stitch is like that through the back. 3, it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I now have 103 stitches, and I'm going to knit 18 rows of twisted rib, which I'll show you how to do twisted rib, which I'm sure most of you know how to do by now. But on the 17th, on the last row, I'll knit 17 rows, and on the 18th row I'm going to increase 10 stitches evenly across the whole row, and that'll bring the stitches up to 113, because I need 111 stitches for to get the back to measure 20 inches, because like I said, this is a 40-inch, so I'll need 111 stitches, because it's 5.5 stitches to the inch. So 10 times 5.5 is 55, and 20 times 5.5 is 110. So it's 110 stitches that I'll need for the rib. So after the rib's finished, for the rest of the body. But I also want to add an extra 2 stitches, because when you sew up you lose a little bit on either side, so I'm adding an extra stitch for each side for that. So there's going to be 112 stitches. But this pattern that I'm doing, the rosebud lace, you need an odd number of stitches, so I'm going to make it 113 stitches. That's why I've got 103, and then I'm going to add 10 stitches to the whole lot on the last row of the rib. So now I'll show, for those that don't know how to do the twisted rib, and all it is you knit into the back of the knit stitch. An ordinary purl, the back of the knit stitch, an ordinary purl, back of the knit stitch, an ordinary purl, and you do that all the way across the row. On every row you knit into the back of the knit stitch, and that's how I do all my knit one purl one ribs. You get a much better effect than just knitting into the front of the knit stitch. And so that's very easy twisted rib. And I think that's all I need to do to show. Hello everyone, it's Sheila back again. Welcome to my channel. I've just started knitting. This is the 40-inch rosebud pattern cardigan. And I've just got the rib part done, and I'm about to do to start the stitches off for where I put the rosebuds. So I have this. This is how I work the pattern out. I find I've got 113 stitches on here. So I work out on here, this is how I work out the pattern, where I put the pattern, and I find the centre stitch, which is number 57, the stitch 57, which is here. A pencil, it's easier to point with a pencil. That's where the centre stitch is. So on that centre stitch, there would be another 56 stitches going that way, but I only need to do half of it from the centre stitch. So that's the centre stitch in the middle of the rosebud, and those are the 2 stitches that's knitted together. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches in between, and then I do that again where there's two together, the centre stitch and 2 together, and so on, another 5, and start the pattern there. I think there's one stitch on the end there, there's 5, then there's 1 stitch on the end, then start along the top row here, there's another stitch, and then the centre stitch and the 2 together, and so on, and all the way along to the very end. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches left, and that's what I start with on that row. I'll start with knit 4 stitches, do the first rosebud, the space in between, the next rosebud, and so on. And when I come to do the rosebud that goes in between those 2, you know, you have the 2 rosebuds there, and then there would be another row which I haven't got on there, which I would do the centre stitch above the centre stitch in the middle of the rosebud. But when I come to do the second part of the pattern, where you have the full rosebud between those 2, here, when you count, you want 5 stitches in between, so go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's only 4 stitches left here to start off, and that's not enough to do a full rosebud. So I miss those stitches, count the 5, and start the rosebud on the 10th stitch. And that's how I work out how to do this pattern. It may sound complicated to some people, but it's very simple to me because I know what I'm doing. So just for anybody that wants to know how to work out the stitch, that's it. I've only shown the bottom part of the rosebud because I don't need to show the top part, because I know it comes in this middle stitch here. So that's how I work it out. And I've knitted the rib. I've got 113 stitches, but I started off with 103, and I increased on the last row of the rib. I increased every 10th stitch, I think it was, all the way along till I got to 113 stitches, because that will make the rib a little bit tighter, and it'll not go as baggy if you do a few less stitches on it. But this wool I'm using, it's Peyton's. Yeah, I'll show you. There's 5 balls here. I've got 6 balls of it all together, but they seem to have changed the texture of this wool from what I normally knit with. But what I'm knitting with now seems to be a little bit thicker, and I can tell by the stitches when I'm knitting it's a little bit stiffer and thicker, but it does wash softer. But it is a little bit harder to knit because it is a little bit thicker than what it normally is. So it's a good job I did a swatch before I started with this. So anyway, I'm going to get it. I haven't had much time until now. I've done this little bit because I've been out today. I've been to my sister's because this is the first day we're allowed in to go into other people's homes if you don't live in that household. And as my sister has a husband, she can't be in a bubble with anyone, so I haven't been in her home for probably a year now, and the same with her coming to mine. So we had a good little chat this afternoon, and I've got to go out again later on because I'm going to deliver that little baby's cardigan that I did to the girl that's buying it, because she lives local to me. So it's easier for me just to deliver it, and it'll save her having to pay the postage on the because sometimes it depends how the things are packed. Sometimes you have to put them in a small parcel, which costs over £3 for postage. So it's easier for me to deliver that once, seeing it's not far from where I live. And so I'm going to do a little bit more of this knitting, and I'm going to start with the like I said on there, I'm going to knit the first 4 stitches. That's the first 4 stitches, and I'm going to knit 2 stitches together. Bring the yarn forward, knit 1 stitch, bring the yarn forward again and slip 1 stitch, knit 1 stitch and pass that slip stitch over. And that's the first rosebud done, part of the rosebud. And I'm going to knit another 5 stitches. 5, and then knit 2 together again, yarn forward, knit 1, yarn forward, slip 1, knit 1, pass slip stitch over. It's easy, as simple as that. It's hard for you to see what I'm doing here. Actually, I was having a white sweater on and I'm knitting white in here as well. But I have a little story to tell you. This morning I went in my shower, and I got in the shower and pulled the shower curtain, and there was this massive spider dropped down into the bath. Well, I'm not frightened of spiders, and I won't kill them either, because they do keep down those other horrid little insects that you get around your house, like flies and woodlice and stuff like that you get crawling about your home. Well, I picked up a flannel and I tried to get him to crawl on. It was the biggest spider I think I've ever seen. The legs were about 10 feet long. But I picked up the flannel and I tried to get it to go onto the flannel, and I was going to put it out the open window, but it would not get onto that flannel. Tried always and it would not. I thought, well, I don't want to kill you, but I want to get a shower, and no. I mean, I'm standing in that shower with nothing on, with the window open, and it's bloody freezing. I was trying to get it out onto the flannel out the window, and it just did not work. I thought, well, there's nothing else I can do. I just turned the water on, and I thought, well, it'll disappear down the plug hole. And it took ages for that water running down. It just would not go down the plug hole. And then when it did, I was in the shower and I was standing watching that plug hole, and I could see the legs keep coming up through the little spaces on the where the plug goes in. The little legs coming up trying to catch onto something to get a hold, and that went on for about 5 minutes while I was in the shower. And because I don't know whether it would have still been alive. It did eventually disappear. But I don't know whether it would have still been alive, because the water was a bit hotter than what the spider would probably like, and it would probably ended up down the drain outside, and there was plenty of things for it to cling on to outside there, like. But but that was my little bit today. I tried to save the spider, but it wasn't having any, so if it died, it wasn't my fault. Like I'm saying, I never kill spiders. If I find one in the house, I always put it outside, because I don't like to kill them, because they do help to keep the vermin of the insect world down, don't they? But that's the way things are, and so I had things to do, and I got on with those things, and I got a little bit knitting done after I met up with my sister and had a good chat and a good laugh about things. And I have to go out tomorrow as well, so I'll probably not be getting any knitting done a little bit later, but I'm going to sit and knit, do what I can of this one here and try and get it finished as quickly as possible. So with a bit of luck, Heather, you'll get it pretty soon. So that's my little bit for today. So give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll let you see how I go on with this. Let you know how far I get with it. So bye for now.